Today I'm competing in a 25k event here in Indonesia, and it's my last week, and you know what that means, it's my last chance. Now last week I got straight into the main draw where I played a pretty tough match against an Indonesian player, and I didn't manage to battle through, but I picked up 2 more ATP doubles points. This week however I'm starting off in the qualifying draw, which means I have to win 2 matches just to make it to the main draw, where I then get to play for the chance for another point. Now as I mentioned in last week's video, my goal for the rest of the year is to play a lot more matches, which means playing tournaments not just like these ITFs but also UTRs and British tours in order to get my match volume up to really make some improvements. With that being said, I really wanted to make the most of this week, ready to absolutely battle it out on the court, so let's see how I got on. This morning I came to the beach a little bit, just clear my mind. A lot of reflection over the last couple of weeks about my journey, about tennis, off court, on court, so it's nice to just relax a little bit, get the mind straight, and yeah, just be present for a little bit. Also come to this little like coffee shop type thing, got myself a little double espresso. I'm warming up in about an hour and a half. My match is 3rd match, so I've got a little bit of time. Unbelievable kind of like environment just to kind of de-stress a little bit. I have woken up with one small problem though. It seems like in every single tournament I seem to have some sort of physical issue. Woke up this morning, my lower back, right where I had the injury last time in November when I was hitting with Kokonakis. I'll put it up on screen right now. Nowhere near the level of pain than it was last time. That was like a 10 out of 10. But it really doesn't feel great, and again it's something I just got to bear in mind with kind of playing. I do all my mobility, my stretching, my my everything to prepare for every session, so it's not like I've slacked on it. And if I was slacking, I would say, and I'd say that that's the reason, but sometimes you sleep badly on it just gets stiff from certain things, you don't put as much time into that one area, and another thing that I've got to deal with. So in other news, espresso is very, very good. Good view as well. Can't lie, it feels a little bit like I'm on holiday here. Nice to relax, but I'm gonna lock in for my match when I'm back. So I was playing an Indonesian player in the first round of qualies, a home favourite. I'd seen him play a little bit in the past, and I kind of knew his game style. I knew that I'd have to kind of move him around the court, be aggressive. Now these courts, played a little bit slow, a bit more like a clay court. You had to be quite crafty, which I quite liked. But I went in with a very positive kind of mindset. Carefree is the wrong word, but I didn't really care too much about the result. I felt like there's a little bit of a weight that's been lifted on that since kind of going on my road to pro in terms of the journey, just because I feel like improvement is the number one goal, and at the end of the day that's how you should be judging yourself. Tennis is a marathon, not a sprint, and so figuring out ways to actually move forward is really important, and sometimes that means playing less of one event and more of another, and I think that I made the right decision going forwards with that, and in this match I kind of know last opportunity to kind of compete this ITF for a while, so really wanted to make the most of it. And as you can see, going up an early break, I actually felt in this match I felt very stable and confident, like I was making good decisions to go to big targets. I think at the beginning of this match, where there was a little bit more pressure, that was really paying off. We get a 3-love lead pretty early on with the break, so I really wanted to just carry that momentum forwards into the rest of this set. I was trying to use my forehand as much as possible, just because the ball sat up a little bit on his strokes, but again just really trying to just change direction as much as possible, keep him on the run, keep him moving, not run too much myself. I had talked a little bit before the match about my lower back, and I taped it, seen the physio. It was actually pretty bad. I'm moving pretty well, so side to side wasn't terrible, but every now and again I'd bend down for a shot or a volley, and you'd have this sharp shooting pain, so I had a little bit of doubt there. But obviously going forward, that wasn't going to be something which necessarily I had to retire with until the pain was really bad. And I had a bit of like a warrior mindset in this one, where irrelevant of how it feels, just going to go in there and compete, and I think that really helped me as well at some moments in this match. So levels out here at 4-all. I had a little bit of a kind of one game blip there, kind of midway through the set. Sometimes have those loose games, and I really think of trying to eliminate that in my game. It's definitely something which if you can iron out, the top guys they're not giving away a couple points here and there, and obviously it's not me giving the whole game, but your opponent plays 2 good points, you play 2 not so good points, then the game can go pretty quickly. So definitely really wanted to focus here at 4-all to kind of go back ahead in this set and look to try and take the first set. My opponent put in a pretty strong service game there at 5-all, didn't really give me too many opportunities, but I knew if I can just kind of keep knocking on the door with that forehand, look for an opportunity, I felt like I could break. You know, sometimes you have that feeling where you're like, if I just get a chance, 1 or 2 points go my way, then I'm knocking out the door for a break, and that's kind of how I felt here at 5-all. Didn't really want it to go to a tie break, but with that being said, really wanted to try and take the most of this opportunity here at 6-5. And that ball just travelling wide on a pretty important point. I actually thought that was in from my perspective, but watching it back now, I can see how it's pretty close. And this point here, just dragging that ball wide, taking us to a first set tie break, where I've really got to give everything to stay focused on every single point, because if this goes to a third set, I could be in trouble. I think that's a play I really need to do a lot more, kind of coming off that backhand side. My opponent's managed to lob me here and I don't win the point, but I definitely think that's a much more aggressive play, which I need to do more of in the future. And going for that forehand there at 3-all really gave me a lot of confidence. Sometimes you just got to take big swings and take a big risk. And I managed to take it, and 6-4 up here, I get my first set point. And I win the first set in a battle, 7-6. Definitely not the best for the body, but very good for the mind. I came into the second set with a lot of positive energy moving forwards, and I had a little bit of a spring in my step. And I have to say that these first 3 games of the second set are probably some of the best tennis I've played for a very long time. Little Roger Federer fake slice there as well, topping it off, trying to get a double break here at 2-love. And I don't even know what came over me on that backhand, but I don't think I've ever hit a backhand return that clean. And I go 3-love up at the beginning of the second set. A lot of positive forwards going momentum. Felt really good. Absolutely cleaning the backhand. Crazy volley like that. I felt like I was kind of untouchable, you know, in a couple of these points, just playing super aggressive tennis. You know, now obviously when you're playing that type of way, it's a very nice feeling, and I definitely think that my game lends itself to when I'm, you know, really playing some good tennis and I'm hitting the shots. It's you know, really difficult to kind of find a way to win points against me, but obviously kind of the one thing is sometimes that form doesn't last, and that's about finding that consistency. And obviously that statement's obviously relative. You know, if I'm playing Djokovic, obviously he's going to beat me, but fundamentally against a lot of the opponents, you know, in futures, in qualies, you know, you'll have spells where you'll play really good, you'll have spells where you play really bad. It's about trying to raise that level where you're playing really bad to a much higher level, and it doesn't happen as often, which is a lot of the time more important than raising the upper level. Because, you know, I've played against Mazzetti, I've managed to win a lot of points, win a quarter against him, so I know that the level's there. It's about making sure that base level increases, and that's why I'm playing a lot more matches, because I think that playing matches is a big role of that. So in the second set, you can see me here 5-3 up, leading pretty confidently. Obviously had a strong start, so now trying to kind of carry that momentum towards the end of the match. And obviously closing out a match is never easy, so definitely wanted to kind of close this one out pretty quick. At 5-4, I get 3 match points. ripped that forehand cross, and I entered the last round of qualifying. So 9 o'clock the next day was time for round number 2. Just before seeing the physio, we jumped on court for like a 20-minute warm-up hit. It was actually very humid today. I felt like there was a bit of a storm brewing. But I was very excited for day number 2. When I got the back moving, it felt a lot better. So I didn't actually record too much yesterday, but I was really just focused on kind of prioritising the back. Kind of got out on court today, a little bit stiff. It's kind of the same pain level. So I talked to my physio, and we kind of think if it gets worse or I'm feeling kind of certain types of pain, then definitely stop, because last time it was 6 weeks out. But I really want to fight. I really want to give it my best shot. So we're going to go out there on court, give it everything, and get it tipped up with the physio before to give myself the best chance. And that's all you can hope for. Also quickly guys, over 50% of you that watched last week's video haven't subscribed. So if you haven't already, it's the best way to support the channel. Go down there, subscribe. It will really mean a lot to me. Now let's carry on with the video. So jumping into round 2 of qualifying against an Indian player, I think with an ATP ranking of about 1800, maybe similar to mine, but nevertheless a strong opponent. Now this match started off slightly interestingly. You know, my opponent, big server, you know, had big strokes, so with the new balls definitely flew through the court, and I definitely wanted to try and take advantage as much as possible in my service games, really look to get a lot of free points, and you know, find ways to kind of hurt my opponent. It seemed like he didn't really want to stick in the rallies too long, so basically just trying to find ways of really kind of dominating the points was working well. And at the beginning of the set I found a break here at 3-1, and I really wanted to carry on that positive momentum, because I felt like I was playing pretty good. And that shot choice was definitely questioning. I'm not sure, maybe I did actually think I was Roger Federer on that drop shot. Wrong decision making at the wrong time. But with that being said, still up here at 4-2. Was getting a couple loose points from my opponent. It seemed a little bit, I don't know, erratic's maybe the wrong word, but he was going for quite a lot of risk at some points. I found myself up set point here at 5-2. And I managed to take that return winner, and I think kind of played into my game style a little bit, because I felt pretty confident with my serving game, so you know, I could just take a couple swings in my return games, and you know, it was going to be you know, kind of one break, and I'm kind of going to run away with it. So that's kind of the mindset that I had in this set, and you know, you can see me just hunting for opportunities here, and I was trying to find them as fast as possible. So on serve here, a little bit of an issue. Well, issue being I'm 30 love down. Definitely didn't want to give the break back to my opponent, so I really fought hard in this game here to 30 all, really locked in on this point. Maybe didn't do as much as I should have, and I literally go straight back to him on the smash, which could have ended really badly. Luckily I managed to convert and kind of keep ahead. I really wanted to make sure that in this second set, first couple of games, I'm really focusing, because sometimes you can let your momentum drop or your attention drop or whatever it is, and suddenly your opponent's back in the match, and that also affects their confidence. Suddenly they've gone from losing the first set to, oh, I'm up a break here, let's try and take it to a third. But I do find another break point here at 2-1 after a pretty tough contested game. Ball flies long, and I take it. I really was serving well this day. New balls here in qualies were definitely helping me out here on these service games. I really enjoyed that. So whoever's running the Bali tournament here, fair play for getting new balls, because it definitely makes a difference in qualies. And 5-2 here, really wanted to not kind of, I don't know, not mess about. I guess that's the wrong way of saying it, but I really wanted to just kind of close this out nice and clean. I've been playing pretty solid all match, and here in my service game, just again hitting the spots, looking for the 1-2s, paying off and getting a match point here. This week I'm actually only playing in the singles because I'm flying home towards the mid part of this week. I wanted to focus 100% on playing singles. That's why you're not seeing doubles in this video. So clearly the courts are very wet today. It's supposed to literally rain the whole day, so today's going to be fun. It's one of those days where you just got to be adaptable, ready for anything. Let's go. So I just finished my warm-up, absolutely dripping. It's so humid out here. Feeling pretty good though, hitting the ball well. Definitely playing 3 days in a row is going to be good for the feeling on the court, so going to take that positiveness into the match. Done a bit of scouting on my opponent. Seems very erratic, going to have his ups and downs. I'm going to show you the live stream highlights just because it's going to be raining, so I don't want to set up the cameras. Hopefully the quality isn't too bad, but you know, bear with me if it is. They're going to go out there, give it everything. Going to just lock in for the match, not really talk to the camera too much. Don't want to distract myself. And look, end of the day, going to leave it all out there on court, try and find different ways to win. And if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but going to make sure I gave my best, and that's all I can ask for. So yeah, that's my mindset going into it. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. So as you can tell, it's raining again, so just going to have to wait it out. It's literally what I hate doing, just waiting, spending so much energy just waiting. But that's what we've got to do. So we actually ended up waiting multiple hours. These types of days are really difficult to manage because you don't know when to eat, when to warm up, how to prepare. But eventually we end up starting the match pretty late in the afternoon, and it was all to play for. So I started off serving in this match. My opponent was, pretty consistent. One of those players which was going to make a lot of balls. And obviously with the surface being quite slow itself, it kind of lent itself to that. But, I knew I was going to get chances. And kind of beginning of this match, wanted to kind of just, gauge a little bit where the strengths and weaknesses were. But I get that first game on the board, which was great for confidence. And I think going forwards from there, I really just tried to attack as much as possible. I always find there's a big difference competing in the main draw for ATP points than playing in the qualies. In the qualies, you lose, you don't get anything. Main draw, you've got something on the line. So a lot of the matches usually start off a little bit more tense. I'd be lying if I said that, I wasn't a little bit nervous, a little bit apprehensive. I really felt that my game's been going in the right direction. I've been playing the right tennis, but obviously under pressure, it's a real test of how your level is. And long rallies like this at the beginning of the match were really going to test the endurance. Like I said, you can't see it through the video or really feel it, but it was definitely a lot more humid because of the rain. And obviously that means you're just sweating buckets. You're feeling super like sluggish almost, in terms of movement. But, crazy rallies like this definitely didn't help. But at 30-all, really wanted to try and find an opportunity, get a chance to come to the net here. Smash that forehand, smash the top of the net, and I put it in the net. Yeah, looking back at that, that's so frustrating. But as you can tell, it was definitely a very physical start to this match, and knew that I'd have to try and find ways to win shorter points, because if every single point goes like this, it's going to be really tough. I keep pretty firm on my service games. I really wanted to try and find a way to break. 30-all, good opportunity again, similar to the first game. You can see me getting some pretty good depth, some good defense from my opponent. Really wanted to try and slice just to mix up the tempo a little bit, try and get my backhand onto his backhand side. His backhand was pretty flat, so he'd get me a few chances. And I get a break point here, at 2-1 again. My first kind of opportunity, and I wanted to kind of lure him into going for a little bit more. That's why I was slicing a little bit more. Just trying to kind of test the water a bit, and him dragging me out there on the backhand side. A bit frustrated that I didn't maybe change line or whatever, but overall, chances are going to keep coming, and hopefully I can keep capitalizing. Start capitalizing at some point. And here at 2-all, 15-all, it actually began to start raining a little bit, so we suspended play for about 5 to 6 minutes. We sat on the bench, we cooled down, and then it got a lot worse, and we actually had to come back the next day. Right guys, so it's been raining pretty heavily, so we're supposed to start at 10, now we're starting at 12. I can't get a taxi, so I have to walk to the tennis. It's about 20 minutes, so we're gonna grind it out. Good little warm-up. Life of a player on the Futures Tour, I guess. Eager to get back on court, excited. Let's see what we can do. Nearly ready. So this is kind of editing Felix right here. I just wanted to kind of talk about the break between finishing a match at kind of 2-2 and then going back the next day, especially in main draw. It's really, really difficult. You know, you're finishing a match, the amount of emotion that's going through your head, and when you have to stop and come back the next day, all you can think about is the match. Like, what's the strategy? What's he doing? What am I doing? How can I win? And your brain goes into overdrive, and it's really tricky. Then the next day you get there, you're not really sure when you're going to start. We had to start at 10 a.m, then it was 11, then it was 12, then it was 1. So going into this match, I felt like I'd wasted a lot of like emotional energy. So I really knew that I had to go in there, you know, all fully guns blazing to try and win this first set, just to get a bit of those emotions out. But it's not to be understated how difficult it is when you have those types of rain delays. But it's really important to learn from them and how you feel to try and adjust for next time, because if you can master having a rain delay and you can come out super strong, the whole match can change. Right, so we resume play here, you know, about 3-3, and you know, we've actually finished 2 more games at the end of the first day, but I didn't manage to record it. But this day was intense. Obviously, starting at 3-3, you know, it's kind of straight to the action straight away. Both giving, you know, 110%. Really wanted to try and take this first set, and it was an absolute dogfight. Really difficult to find ways to hit winners. You know, use my weapons. He was very good at neutralizing it. Good on the defense as well, and you know, obviously that slight added element I felt of trying to win and anxiety and playing for a point maybe added to not being as aggressive, which kind of lends itself, and you know, spraying shots like that. But then again, on the other side, it also made me a little bit more consistent. You know, made me pick bigger targets, try and play a little bit more safe, which overall, you know, means, you know, I'm going to make less unforced errors as well. So, you know, it had its pros and cons, but as you can see here in this first set, it was pretty even for a lot of the match. Ridiculous ball cross as well into the corner. That was actually a huge point. This game would have been really nice to try and get a break here, and that ball just landing in again, just like, I don't know, change of mindset, change of heart as I was coming forward. Thought it was going to travel long, didn't end up going out, but I didn't let that affect me. I really wanted to just take that positive mindset into each point, even at 15-30 down there, really just trying to keep to my guns and be aggressive. And I actually felt the level of this match was very high. You know, it's always easy to judge it, you know, a match by the result or how it's going. But at 5-5 here, you know, I had my chances already, but you got to put that behind you and actually think, you know, am I playing good tennis? Am I playing the right tennis? Am I playing the right tennis to win? I didn't think I was actually doing too much wrong. My opponent play was pretty solid, and you know, so here, maybe trying to find a break before we go into this tie break, but you know, juice point. Really important to try and just kind of hold on here. He was being a lot more aggressive on the second day, giving me a lot less chance. And this game was actually a really, really long one. So he was also serving, you know, a lot better. New balls at 11 games, so balls definitely coming through a lot quicker. And this tie break was going to be, you know, really important since we'd already been on court for over an hour just from 3-3. Little chip and charge there, him getting a crazy net call, putting the ball in the net. That could have ended very badly, but 3-3 here, really important chance to try and get that mini break to go up in this tie break. Get a net cord, crazy hustle defense. I'm up here 5-4. I really wanted to try and get on the floor as much as possible, do some damage, and I pulled that one wide. You know, went for a slightly smaller target, maybe should have aimed a bit bigger, but with that being said, absolute hustle point of here again, miss and go down first set point. and I do save that first set point to take it to 6-all. I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't extremely tight at this point and really wanted it very badly to kind of win this match. And had his first set point here at 7-6, really wanted to try and capitalise as much as possible. And on that smash, my opponent actually broke the frame of his racket. Kind of came off his racket a little bit weirdly, but he continued to play with it. And so at 7-all here, again, absolute battle of a point. He's definitely upped his aggression level. It was really kind of tough to kind of combat. I was just trying to be everywhere. Again, finishing with a smash and go down set point here at 8-7. I kind of said to myself here, look, I want to try and find a way to kind of come into the net. Saw the backhand opportunity just on the move, and I missed that ball into the net. From that moment, my heart sank. Honestly, I really wanted that set so badly. We've been battling over an hour. I actually went into the toilet and, not to be gruesome, but threw up a little bit because I think I was really pushing myself, in this match. I look back at my heart rate data. I was 45 minutes in the red zone in that first set. Going into the second set, I could definitely feel the physical effects of that first set. But, with that being said, I still felt this kind of air of optimism. I still felt positive that, if I can just find a way to kind of break him. And I had a couple of opportunities in the first set. I could find a way back and, win this match in a third. But I try and, have to try and keep it as succinct and as fast as possible. I didn't think there was much level difference. Actually on the court, it was going to be such a mental game, and you can take the chances. And with that being said, my opponent began to play really well on a couple of key points, and at this moment I felt like a little bit of pressure from him, so I knew I'd really have to up my level if I wanted to stay in this one. Four-two down here, I really felt like I was flailing a little bit. I felt a little bit disheartened that I'd lost that first set, and no matter kind of how much I was throwing at him, I just wasn't able to kind of find the firepower. But here at 5-2, I decided to try and make like a last stand, really make him serve it out in the match, because anything can happen in a game where you're serving it out, in a main draw match, and managed to put that ball line, save that game and do it, and here he is serving out for the match. That point there at 30-all could prove to be crucial, getting a break point there. He's very aggressive with that forehand side, just missing that ball long, and my opponent giving me another break point here, but again converting with a solid serve +1, and I felt a little bit like the chances were coming and going here, and I missed that ball long. That was a really difficult loss. It was a tough loss.
Yeah, right guys, that match really hurt. Tennis is a sport where it will literally just keep testing your limit. Obviously, like I said in last week's video, I knew these 2 weeks were going to be really tough. You've got to be able to just keep losing and keep getting up again, even though it really hurts. Yeah, I'm not going to go into why. I think primarily spent a lot of time in the red zone. 40 minutes above 170 I began to be sick. In the change of ends, I was sick in the toilet. Yeah, in this moment right now, I feel really disappointed in myself and in the result. Today's just another hit down, and It's going to be whether I can get up. How much am I going to let this setback affect me? I'm going to be so real. After a match like that, I honestly have so many emotions in my head, and I'm sure if you've played matches that you really wanted to win, you'll relate. I know obviously I'm not able to dedicate 100% of my energy and time to playing tennis just because of the nature of the financial system and, you know, wanting to build, you know, making videos and building a business which actually helps me play tennis, but very goddamn frustrating. Played 3 main draws, 3 opportunities where I'm, you know, 1 win away from picking up some more points. And it's not about the point. Like, I don't care whether I have 1 or 2 or 3 points. It doesn't matter. What matters is that, you know, I feel that the level's improving, that I'm getting rewarded for hard work, that I have results which I'm proud of. And obviously you can only judge that based on, have you actually put in a reasonable amount of work in a right environment to warrant results. And that's maybe what hasn't happened. I haven't put myself in an environment to be able to expect results from myself. So maybe I'm being too harsh. That's not a bad thing. Wanting to win is part of tennis. You have to want to win so bad. I'm a very calm guy, like, off the court, right? But I'm this close to just breaking all my bats just because it's so frustrating. And the other half of me thinks, don't let it affect you. Focus on the next tournament. But I think deep within the frustration, there's still a fire. And this isn't a complaint about, you know, why I haven't won or what, you know, why the results have been bad. No, not at all. Just an additional thing which adds that layer of toughness to it and teaches you a lot. And I've become a much better person. I've been much easier to be just with myself and with my thoughts. But in times like this, when you're by yourself, are you going to get back up? You know, I can't do it, I've tried my hardest. No, that's an average person mindset. Within my profession, I'm trying to be above average. There's 100 million people that play tennis, 10,000 try and go pro, 2,000 have ATP ranking in singles or doubles. It's a process, and if you talk to every single one of those people, they had to go through hardships and tough moments, and if they wouldn't have got up from those tough moments, they wouldn't be where they are today. And I'm not talking about the Alcaraz or the Sinner that were number 1 from 16. You know, those are the people that a lot of you guys will know, but the guys you don't know, the guys that are 100 in the world, that have been 600 until they're 27 years old, about to give up, and then suddenly now they're nearly top 100. Billy Harris, great example. Good friend of mine, really talented tennis player, now he's nearly top 100. Those stories inspire me. I feel so far away from being able to fulfill my potential that I owe it to myself to have the mindset of the above average person, to have the mindset to keep going, to have the mindset to keep pushing. Because if I don't keep pushing, then why am I doing this? Why am I making these videos? Like, what are we doing here? Forgive the kind of prolonged monologue here, but I really want to kind of get this point across that no matter how much you feel like your tennis isn't where it is, or the results aren't where you want, or in life you're not, you know, doing your best, there's always going to be those moments. Everyone has those moments. Everyone has those emotions. It's how you deal with it that allows you to move forward. I think I've shown you guys over the last 2 or 3 years that I'm 100% committed to the process, and that process is in my own way. Granted, I have to be able to pay for stuff, and I watched an interesting podcast about Dominic Thiem saying it takes $1 million to raise a tennis player, and that's also a big risk. And when I have days like today, that risk sometimes doesn't feel like it's going to pay off, but I'm the type of person that says I want to find out. And yeah, I'm going to feel sorry for myself for a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to be frustrated. Yeah, I'm going to be annoyed. That's natural. There you go. Hangs out.